Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Trump, Russia, China, and Africa. Trump made an attempt to counter Russia and Chinese influence in Africa. After dismantling and defunding most of the instruments the U.S. uses to exert soft power around the world. The administration put together what they called an African Leaders Summit. The White House described it in incredibly blunt terms. Quote, "This discussion and lunch dialogue with African heads of state was arranged because President Trump believes that African countries offer incredible commercial opportunities. There absolutely are immense commercial opportunities in Africa. Even though Trump called it the African Leaders Summit, it was rather limited in either invitation or turnout. At time of recording, I can't tell which. Either way, out of more than 50 countries on the continent, only 5 were there, and none of those 5 were major economies. Area experts referred to the countries invited as, quote, low-hanging fruit. Given how well his foreign policy is going lately, foreign policy experts were kind of relieved that he wasn't going to really mess anything major up. So on that note, during the meeting, Trump complimented the president of Liberia on his English. If you know, don't laugh yet. And then Trump asked, quote, "Where did you learn to speak so beautifully? Where were you educated?" I'll go ahead and answer that question. The College of West Africa and the University of Liberia. That's where he was educated, but he learned English in elementary school because, they speak English in Liberia. Look, I understand that Africa isn't covered well in the U.S., but if there's one country Americans should know a little something about, it's Liberia. If you don't know the connection to the U.S., just go ahead and read up on the history of the country on Wikipedia. Back to foreign policy. This is Trump's attempt to counter Russia and Chinese influence. Soft power in Trump world involves bringing over some dignitaries and being an embarrassment. Hey, you know who would have known that English is the official language in Liberia? Anybody at Voice of America Africa. But it doesn't look like that site's been updated in months. There's also the slashing of the United States Agency for International Development. They had a lot of goodwill and influence built up in Africa. According to a recent study, U.S. aid reportedly saved about 90 million lives over the last 20 years. Not all, but many of those were in Africa. The guy who is apparently trying to woo Africa now is the guy who scrapped funding that is projected to cost the lives of 14 million people by 2030. Not all, but many of those will be in Africa. Trump's Africa campaign is probably going to leave it firmly under the influence of the Chinese, because frankly, they seem to be treating the countries there better than either the U.S. or Russia. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.